I'm Rachel Marie.
I'm John David Parker Robinson.
This is my living room. And by John, I make music.
I date her.
And we're gonna answer some questions about what it's like to be a musician.
And what it's like to date a musician.
Shall we?
Rachel, how do you keep a routine or structure during the day?
It actually took wowsy woozy. It actually took a lot of experimentation to come up with a structure that really works for me, because before I was a musician full-time, I was spending all the time that I wasn't at my day job just like obsessively doing my music work. So when I first quit my day job, I was just obsessively doing music work all the time, but not actually making music, just this 10-mile long to-do list of administrative stuff that had been building up forever. And so since all I was doing with my time before that at home was like doing music tasks, I just did it all the time. And it wasn't great because I was still overworking myself. So now I have a really pretty darn consistent routine. I get up, I have tea, I journal, I have breakfast with John, I have an administrative to-do list in the morning, I exercise, I eat lunch, and then in the afternoon I try to reserve that for creative stuff. And then in the evening sometimes there are shows or songwriter circles or whatever, and I really crave structure, so that works for me. John, before this relationship, what was your idea of what full-time musicians did all day long, if you had one?
It's sort of funny. I knew several musicians, but none of them were, at the time, full-time. I took like what I knew that they did, which was mostly writing music, doing live performances, occasionally making a CD or an album, putting it out. I guess I just figured musicians probably do that pretty much all the time. I knew somewhere in my head that they like had Facebook pages and websites and sent emails about stuff, because I got all of those things, but it never occurred to me that they actually had to spend time on those things. Much
That's
less
amazing.
the vast majority of their time on those things, if my estimates are correct. Right? How many songs have you written that no one has ever heard? Do you have a book of them somewhere?
I don't have a lot of finished songs that nobody has ever heard, but I have a ton of verse chorus. Oh, I got stuck and this never became a thing. I guess a bunch of those have probably been heard by no one, because I don't do a lot of, I've just started doing co-writing. The only co-writing I ever did was with my friend Hannah when I was a child, and so I've always been afraid of it, because I'm like, I did this with one of my best friends when we were kids, and that's why it worked. So like, how am I supposed to like bare my soul? Like, I'm not 8 anymore. I know that that's scary. What the heck is this question?
But hang on, because I've got to ask you a question about what you were just saying, because you had a really positive co-writing experience recently.
I did.
Your recent forays since being 8 into co-writing have been awesome, and you've come home really excited about them.
Yeah. So I don't have like songs that no one has heard, but I have bunches of chunks of them, and they're everywhere. Like some of them are on my computer. I don't write on my computer a lot, but when I was in college I wrote on my computer a lot, because you're taking notes in class, or you're writing a song. Take notes in class if you need to. Some of them are on my computer, and some of them are in the many notebooks that I've used over the years. So the answer is kind of, and there's not just one book. John.
Rachel.
John, would you listen to Rachel's music if you weren't dating?
Yes. Next question. I listened to it before. I do, I listen to your music for fun, like, especially if I'm on the road somewhere and, I'm forgetting the Postal Service lyrics that are relevant at this time. I occasionally will come in while Rachel's, like, doing a performance here or whatever, like, I go out and see you. I enjoy your music, and I do experience it out, even today, outside of the sphere of listening to it because you're my girlfriend. Rachel.
Yes.
Rachel. What kinds of touring dreams do you have? Wink. 2 question marks.
There were 2 question marks in real life too. Yeah.
I believe.
Well, one thing is that I would love for touring regionally to just be a thing that is completely regular. One of my smaller dreams is just like have my booking calendar. The next 4 to 6 months are like good and booked. And I haven't gotten on that, I wanted to say hamster wheel, but that's a negative thing. I haven't gotten on that like routine yet. So one dream is just like, I want to do regional stints regularly and like have a route that's like classic Rachel. I would love to do that. And I would love to take my bestie, Louie, on those tours with his camera, patreon.com/LTVphoto. And Louie and I went on my first tour when I was a bright-eyed, bushy-tailed 19-year-old, and a couple of my favorite people had moved to California, and I went, hey, let's go visit a couple of our favorite people. Louie, let's drive to California. okay, cool, I'll pay for it with shows. And I had never done anything like that before. And sometimes I wish I could, like, I need to learn how to tap into my 19-year-old, just like, I'm ambitious, but when I was 19, I was just like, I said we're gonna do something, we're doing it, full stop. And granted, it was easier because I wasn't like paying rent over the summer, I was just not living in a dorm, so we were able to just like go. But I would very, 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 very much love to recreate that as adults, and also when it is legal for me to play in bars. So that's a big touring dream. John, is it hard that your relationship doesn't have a lot of real weekends because they tend to be musicians' work days?
I mean, I feel like mostly that's worked out pretty well. When we first got together, Rachel said, you know, John, I don't go to your work every day and check out what you're doing. You don't have to come to all of my work stuff, although it would be nice to see you time to time.
Wow, I sound very nice.
And then on the other hand, I've sort of got this musician built into my life that I like seeing live, and who tends to play places that I like going to and play with people that I appreciate and also like.
No.
And I get in free, usually. Sometimes I get the opportunity to go play cameraman. I'm an amateur photographer, so I enjoy that occasionally. Yeah, so it mostly works out. And like this last Saturday, after I've been working a lot lately, Rachel, when I got up in the morning, was like, just so you know, I have these things today, and you probably shouldn't come to them. You need a day off, so take it, and you don't have plans. Rachel.
Yes.
Assumption. Is it correct that you sometimes view music-ing as a daily chore instead of a labor of love? Question. How do you get over that?
The funny thing is, I think for me, it's almost the opposite. That when I was talking about when I quit my day job, I just started using all my time the way I used to use some of my time. And not a lot of that was actually making music. A lot of that was like if I worked an 8, 9, or 10-hour day at my day job, I would come home and make sure I was responding to my emails and posting to social media and trying to get booked. I was not coming home and singing and writing. So at first when I quit my day job, I filled 8, 9, or 10 hours of my day with booking strategy and social media and rebuilding my website and answering any emails that came in. I also am very task oriented, so whenever I spent hours of my day doing something that I couldn't cross off a list and say, yes, I accomplished task X, it didn't feel like real work. So it's not that I see music as a chore rather than a labor of love, it's that I struggle to see the actual art and craft as my job. So, you know what I mean?
As somebody who's tried to talk you into seeing the other perspective a little bit, yeah.
Right. So it's like, it's not the opposite of like music gets tired because it's my job, but it is sort of like a totally other side of that. I should be writing more because, not because it's my job, but like I need to see that as a valid part of my job, and that's actually still something that I'm working on big time.
When Rachel first moved in, we talked about the fact that for a lot of my life, I have been part of movements and communities and things that were making what to me was like a really important impact on the world. And now I work a corporate job that is really important to me for a lot of reasons. And when Rachel and I have talked about that, I've described her contribution to the family as being sort of like the mission-focused portion of things. Like I feel even more comfortable doing what I feel called to do right now in technology because I know that together we are still making an impact in these other areas that are really important to me, which a lot of Rachel's music touches on. Compassion and understanding, helping people feel seen and know that it's okay, that they're okay, even when they're not okay. For instance. And I think the thing is, coming from a largely non-musical background, or at least not from sort of the professional aspect of it, I thought most of what musicians did was sit around and write music. And to me, every musician that I do listen to, my engagement with them happens in sort of a sine wave that tracks with when they release new music. I don't go to a lot of concerts. When a new album comes out, that's when I get more of the stuff I want from the artists that I listen to. And so to me, it was this reversal of perspective, trying to understand that the rest of Rachel's job was important because it was helping her to reach new audiences and get in touch with new people. It's been a weird balancing thing of both of us coming to understand Rachel's work a little bit differently over time, and me being like, I want more music. And also going, oh, now I get it. You actually really have to do all this other stuff too.
But I also have to write songs.
Yeah.
I need to get better at believing that that's important. That's part of why the structure of like doing my creative things in the afternoon is like, I need to make myself do it. I need to make it a chunk of my day. John, is it ever hard to distinguish between when I'm at work and when I'm just hanging out with my friends?
No.
Because it's hard for me.
I can take this one from here. Oh, I was the person taking the question. I suppose it's my job.
Yeah.
Rachel's a very structured-minded person. She loves spreadsheets. It's kind of one of her strengths. I suggested today when we were doing up a grocery list that we like do it in a spreadsheet so that we could just like list the things we wanted to get and figure out how much they were going to cost. She was like, because when I think of a spreadsheet, I think of this sort of slow, beautiful thing that grows over time, and I was just like, okay.
I don't think those are the words I
That
used.
was almost exactly what you said. But the key is, it sounded like me talking about a computer program or something, or some other normal person talking about art. So this is Rachel and her spreadsheets and so forth. And so, you know, she keeps very careful track of like what time is work time and what time is friend time. And, you know, if she's going somewhere, she has to know, are these, you know, billable miles on my car for tax purposes and so on. She's very, very careful about it all. As aforementioned, she has several musician friends who are also friends. Some of the same people that I like to go see her play with are also people that she meets regularly to talk to about work stuff and also occasionally friend stuff or vice versa.
And the one time that I had someone do my taxes, the thing that he encouraged me to do is to see more things, more meals especially, as work. Because he was like, literally if you're gonna go have lunch with a music colleague, what are the chances that you're not gonna talk shop? Because I'm pretty sure they're zero. I'm like, that's true. When am I at work? Is it all the time? Is it 24 hours a day?
And so, yeah, it's often a question of like, am I hanging out with these people or am I like working? And what does that mean and does it matter? Sometimes it matters, but mostly to me it seems pretty clear. And sometimes the clear answer is a little bit of both. Rachel?
Yes.
How many tomatoes do you consume a day? And please talk about how those food mice things, these friends,
Not
are working out
sponsored.
for the kitties.
Sadly, since the onset of the pandemic, I have not eaten any tomatoes. My mom eats tomatoes like they're apples, and I never understood. And then one day in my adult life, I just discovered that tiny tomatoes are the best thing I've ever had. And so I eat lots of tiny tomatoes, and when we have fresh produce, because we go to the grocery store on a regular basis,
Ordinarily.
I eat lots of tiny tomatoes, maybe like 10 a day. But I haven't had any at all, which is a bummer. The thing is, okay, so my friend Emily visited months ago when we had just gotten these things. At the advice of Susanna's vet, and they're little mice, and you put the food in the mice, and then the cats don't just eat the food from the bowl, they have to hunt the little mice so they can get their food. And we got these because Susanna is a large cat. You came home from the vet one time and like said something about how you were glad that the vet was not fat shaming our cat. That the vet was like, I like fat cats. Fat cats are cool. I have one. Also, maybe get these mice things.
It's a very positive experience.
But we haven't used them because we keep thinking that our tiny cat, who's the best hunter, is just gonna hunt them all and eat all the food. And Susanna, who is very curious and active and also a bad hunter, will just never eat again. So we haven't used them. I'm sorry, Emily. John, what is it like to sometimes be involved in Rachel's work, doing percussion, being in Rachel's videos, etc.? How does it make you feel? Oh, that video thing was meta for yourself individually, but also for your relationship.
Mostly awesome. I haven't had the chance to play percussion for a long time. I played in a couple of bands and some things in the past, so I really enjoy that. Used to play all the time camping with friends. Don't get to do that very much these days, so it's really fun. I really like participating in your work and in kind of the work our family is doing to try in our own small way to make the world a little better. I like doing photography, but occasionally I have my own stuff going on in a week and Rachel needs something, and it's always optional, but if I've agreed to do something and then life gets really busy, sometimes it can, you know,
Literally like today.
a little balance. Yeah, literally like today, where I worked all day and until, I don't know, 6:30 or so, and probably would have worked until 9 if I had had a free evening and had to stop and do this. But this is really good. Sometimes, in fact, I think almost universally it provides me with a break. Rachel, do you love taking time to come to camp?
Obviously. And it's actually directly related to me doing this full time, because when I was working a day job and I had 2 weeks off a year, I really felt that I needed to use those 2 weeks to tour 1 week at a time, but I needed to use those 2 weeks to like go someplace that wasn't Massachusetts or Pennsylvania, play my music, focus on getting in front of people, do the long drives. So that didn't leave time. I couldn't take time off to go be a camp counselor. And now that I don't have a day job, it's not asking my boss for a week off. It's free food and lodging and amazing kids and Jesus. It's just like suddenly this thing that I couldn't have for years that was a really important part of my life became an option again because I said yes to music and no to my day job. John, do you go on the road with Rachel? Love it or hate it?
I do go on the road with Rachel. Or I should say maybe I have gone on the road with Rachel. Just last summer, we were in the middle of getting ready to move, buy our first place. We had long-standing plans to go on this tour, so we did. It was amazing. It was really fun to be on a road trip, and it was really fun to meet all these people who just appeared in like Rachel's stories and occasionally on FaceTime. And also I had to work straight through the whole thing. You know, the future is kind of up in the air. I think we have sort of this pipe dream where we get a camper or something and there's some way where I can have a really good internet connection and can somehow continue to do my work while we're touring. But realistically right now, when Rachel goes to tour, I stay home. Rachel.
Yes.
When are you writing a song about Will Black or your mother?
Well, I don't do a lot of commissions, but I have done one commission, and so if you want to commission me to write a song, Mom, you could, and eventually I will write you a song. I might write Will a song. I think probably first I should write Grandma a song, but the answer is only God knows. Maybe you should pray about it. And Will should pray about it because he is the spiritual head of his household.
Oh my gosh.
This is an inside joke. This house is not. This house tries very hard to not be a heteronormative,
we're not complimenting
patriarchal house. Anyway, Mommy, I think you should pray to the good Lord. I'm done. Thank you for spending time in our living room. I hope you enjoyed this fire and our chairs that we built by hand.
From IKEA.
Oh, I need to show you this cap. Are you angry?
Rachel always thinks she's angry. She's never angry.
Anyway, I'm Rachel Marie. I make music and now I make videos, apparently. I'm on the YouTube machine. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more of this, or me singing covers, or me singing my own songs, or something else, and you want to comment and tell me what it is.
I'm John David Parker Robinson. I'm in IT. I don't have a channel, but you should watch her stuff. It's pretty good.
Like this video if you like Susanna. That's my cat. Bye, everybody.
Your music before we were dating.
Honey, you're getting shocked because it's a microphone. Well, I didn't do it the first time.
Fair.
See that big spike? I need to snort.
Cool.
This is why you don't make assumptions, Will. I asked you to make assumptions, literally.
It is
anyway.
true.
I just want to say, this is future editing Rachel, and today we got an order of groceries, and I've already eaten half of my tiny tomatoes. Also, thank you to my patrons. I didn't mention Patreon at all because I'm a hooligan, but if you want to jump over there, jump over there. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2 weeks with a cover. But Loopy, I don't know, my patrons aren't finished voting, but I'll see you there.